Good morning, students. Welcome to our 10th class biology subject and also class. Before going to our class, we have to know about our science subject. Science is a combination of two subjects. One is physics and another one is biology. So, science is the combination of two subjects. One is physics and another one is biology, we know. Don't neglect any subject easily. Both subjects are very important for our final examination. That's why we have to treat each subject individually and also equally. They are very important to our future higher standards. Let us come to our biology subject. In 10th class, biology subject consists of 1 to 10 lessons. Each lesson explains a separate system in human body. Our human body consists of so many systems. So, in 10th class, from our biology subject, we will try to learn about different systems and their work in our human body. Students, one more important thing in our biology subject are diagrams. There are so many diagrams in each lesson in our 10th class biology. That's why we need to draw diagrams and practice them again and again. Now let us start our first lesson from our 10th class biology. Our first lesson is nutrition, food supplying system. Food is needed by all living organisms for growth and repair. There are so many living organisms on our earth. They are all depend on food for their survival. And there are some another organisms, they depend on food material for their body temperature, to maintain their body temperature. A large variety of substances are taken as food from single cellular organism like amoeba and multicellular organism like human body. We know our human body is composed of so many living cells. Even within our human body, each cell require and also depend on different type of wide variety of substances or food material. The mode of acquiring food also varies from cell to cell and organism to organism. We have studied in earlier classes how organisms get their food. Now let us recall some of them. What are autotrophs? How do autotrophs get their food? What are heterotrophs? How do heterotrophs get their food? You already studied about autotrophs and heterotrophs. Autotrophs are living organisms. They can prepare their food as their own. These are called autotrophs. They do not depend on another organism for their food material. Whereas heterotrophs, they do not prepare their food as their own. That's why they depend on another organism for their food material. Two types of organism based on modes of nutrition. One is autotroph, another one is heterotroph. Autotrophs are living organism. They can prepare their own food, we know. Whereas heterotrophs, they do not prepare their food as their own. That's why they are called heterotrophs. We can say plants are autotrophs. All plants are autotrophs because they prepare their food as their own. That's why these organisms are called autotrophs. Now let us study modes of nutrition and how nutrition is useful in different living organisms for their survival. Now let us find out why most plants are called autotrophs. Before going to this, we need to learn about autotrophic nutrition. What is autotrophic nutrition? Why plants are called autotrophs? How they prepare their food? Now let us discuss briefly. Now let us learn about autotrophic nutrition in plants. We know autotrophs are organisms capable of using light energy to synthesize chemical compounds. They acquire nutrients like minerals and water from soil, gases from air. Autotrophs are capable of producing complex compounds like carbohydrate, proteins, lipids, etc. These are chemical compounds. They are very necessary to all living organisms, including human beings. There are so many chemical compounds prepared by plants. That's why they are called autotrophs. They use light energy to synthesize this type of chemical compounds such as what? Carbohydrate, proteins, fats, lipids. These are all chemical compounds. These are very necessary food products for all living organisms. There are so many living organisms depend on different type of living organisms for their food material. For example, if you take humans, humans are heterotrophs. They are not only depend on only plants for their food material, but also depend on another food materials and another animals. Most of things that we eat obtain from plants. Not only plants, we eat some food material, and also we depend on another organism for our food material. We eat not only plant products, now and then we eat animal products also. That's why we are heterotrophs. So finally we conclude there are two type of organisms. One is autotroph and another one is heterotroph. Finally, we can say plants are autotrophs. They can capable of producing complex compounds like carbohydrate, proteins, fats and lipids. These are some chemical compounds and also useful for all living organisms for providing energy and also producing energy. But how do plants carry out their life processes? To know more about these life processes in plants, scientists have been working for centuries to find out how plants carry out their life process. Among all life processes in plants, one of the life processes, photosynthesis, makes plants the universal food provider. Makes plants what? The universal food provider. We can say what is meaning of universal food provider? Why do plants are also known as the universal food provider? Because of one of the life process, that is photosynthesis. Why do plants are called universal food provider? The universal food provider because of one of life process of plants, that is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the life process that help in making food their own. This is the reason that's why these organisms or plants are called autotrophs. The meaning of the universal food provider is plants are autotrophs. They can prepare their own food and also they have capability of giving food to all living organism by the process of one life process, that is photosynthesis. Now let us discuss about photosynthesis. It is one of the important essential life process in plants and also very useful to all living organisms for their survival. Why? Because plants are capable of producing complex compounds like carbohydrate. They are not only food material for organism like plants, but also these complex food materials very useful to all living organism for their survival. That is why plants are also known as the universal food provider. They are not only utilizing food for their own purposes and also they have capability of giving food to another living organisms to survival. You have studied something about photosynthesis in your earlier classes. In earlier classes, von Helmont and other scientists believed that plants get their food not only from soil but also other sources. We can say there are some raw material such as carbon dioxide, water and sunlight. These are all raw material for the process of photosynthesis. And also we can observe there are the formation of some end products after process of photosynthesis. They are glucose, that is food material, water and oxygen. These are all end products of process of photosynthesis. To know more about these end products and raw material needed for photosynthesis process. Now let us discuss briefly about the process of photosynthesis in plants. Now let us study the process of photosynthesis in detail. Now let us study about the process of photosynthesis in plants. What is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the process in which plants containing the green pigment chlorophyll build up complex carbonic molecules from relatively simple organic ones using sunlight as an energy source. I repeat it again. What is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the process in which plants containing the green pigment chlorophyll build up complex organic molecules from relatively simple organic ones using light energy as an energy source. This is of photosynthesis is very complex. It has several steps and also there are several intermediary compounds are formed. There are several scientists have tried to formulate equation for process of photosynthesis over past 200 years. There is one scientist, he proposed a equation for process of photosynthesis. His name is C.B. Van Neel. C.B. Van Neel proposed a equation for the process of photosynthesis. Simply, it was readily accepted throughout the universe. To know about the process of photosynthesis, finally C.B. Van Neel proposed an equation for the process of photosynthesis in the year 1931. According to his opinion, for each molecule of carbohydrate formed, one oxygen molecule and one water molecule is formed. According to his opinion, for each molecule of carbohydrate formed, this is the end product of the process of photosynthesis. Carbohydrate means it is nothing but glucose. Here there are some another end products such as water and oxygen molecule. These are all end products of the process of photosynthesis. We can observe these end products by formula or equation which is proposed by C.B. Van Neel. Now let us observe an equation proposed by C.B. Van Neel in the year 1931. According to his opinion, there are some raw materials such as carbon dioxide CO2 plus 2H2O water molecule. These two are what raw materials. CO2 plus 2H2O gives rise to formation of some end products such as what CH2O, H2O and O2. These three are end products. Here we can observe there are some intermediary compound such as sunlight and chlorophyll. Sunlight and chlorophyll. This is the equation. We can say the process of photosynthesis by equation. Equation, it is proposed by C.B. Van Neel in the year 1931. C.B. Van Neel first worked on purple sulfur bacteria to found light plays a specific role in photosynthesis. Instead of H2O, they used H2S as starting material. Here, no oxygen is liberated during photosynthesis. Instead, elemental sulfur is evolved. We can observe at the end of this process, during the process of photosynthesis, he used H2S, hydrogen sulfide, instead of what? H2O molecule. In the process of photosynthesis, H2O it is one of the essential factor needed raw material. Whereas in this activity, he used H2O, not H2O. Instead of H2O, he used H2S. That's why we can observe at the end of this process, he observed evolving of sulfur, elemental sulfur. Later, Robert Hill showed O2 is released from water. Then the equation was modified as follows. 6CO2 12H2O gives rise to C6H12O6 6O2 6H2O. We know plants synthesize carbohydrate, proteins, lipids, fats. These are all some chemical compounds. Finally, we can observe these chemical compounds at the end of the process of photosynthesis. From above experiments conducted by C.B. Van Eyck, we can conclude plants can prepare their food material as their own by the process of photosynthesis. That is why plants are called autotrophs, whereas animals are not capable of synthesizing these compounds like plants. That's why animals are heterotrophs. Students, so far we have studied about some topics in our first lesson, such as autotrophic nutrition. What is autotrophic nutrition? What are autotrophs? What are heterotrophs? What is photosynthesis? How does it take place in plants? Who proposed first equation for the process of photosynthesis? What are end products of photosynthesis? What are raw material needed for the process of photosynthesis? And finally, complete equation for photosynthesis. We already studied about all these topics in this lesson. We will discuss more about some topics in our next class. Thank you.